All right, today we're going to be starting our landscape paintings. So the first thing you need to do is go through your phone or Google Images and find an image that you want to work with for your landscape painting. Okay, I have been to Bryce Canyon. I don't have it in my Google Photos, so it's just easier for me to find this Google photo of one of the canyons here. So I just copied and pasted it into my own Google Doc here. Okay, if you have a reference photo that is wider than it is tall, such as this one, it's more of a landscape than it is tall, I'm just going to come up here and I am going to rotate this around so that it is the long way on my piece of paper. The goal is to make this image take up most of your piece of paper. So I'm going to go ahead and make this a little bit larger, like so. So this takes up most of the paper. I labeled it Landscape Painting Bryce Canyon. So once you get your image copied and pasted into a Google Doc, you're going to run up to the library and you are going to print this in full color. So go up to the library, log into a computer in the library, and you are going to print this. So looking forward, this is my printed image of Bryce Canyon. So this is what I'm going to use for the next step. So I have my sheet here. My name is written on here, Miss Feiereisen. The location of this photo was Bryce Canyon, Utah. So if you took this photo, you should know the location. If this is off of Google Photos, I want you to do a little bit of researching, try to find out where the origin of that photo is. Okay, who took this picture? This particular picture is a Google image. Why do you think this will make an interesting pointillism painting? I think the colors and the atmosphere of this picture is going to work well. What mood do you want to portray in this painting? Calm and free. And then the last thing I need to do before I start drawing it is measuring. So on my piece of paper that I printed, I'm going to line up my ruler with the edge of my printout, and I'm going to measure across. So it's just shy of 9 inches. I'm just going to round it up and say that this is 9 inches wide. And then I'm going to line up my ruler with the top of my picture and go down, and it is just shy of 4.5. So I'm going to say the height is 4.5 inches. Now you don't have to do it exact. I would say if you get to the nearest inch or the nearest half inch, that should be pretty good for measuring. The reason we need these measurements is this is going to get us our canvas size. Okay, so you're going to take these two numbers and you are going to multiply them. So I did this with a different painting, not from this sheet. So I'm going to take my 9 inches and I'm going to multiply it by 2. And then I'm going to take my 4.5 inches and I'm going to multiply that by 2. And then I'm going to get 18 inches by 10 inches. Or I'm sorry, by 9 inches. So right now this would be a canvas size that's doubled the size. I'm also going to, so this is an option, I could do 9 by 18. That's still fairly small for this particular painting. So I'm going to take my 9 and I'm going to multiply it by 3. And then I'm going to take my 4.5 and I'm also going to multiply that by 3. Okay, so this canvas size is going to be a little bit larger than my times 2. So 9 times 3 is 27. Okay, 12, so it'll be 13.5. So I can round this up to 14. Okay, so I could do 27 by 14, so that is another option. So I would give yourself at least 2 options for the canvas size, doubling that canvas and tripling it. So these are the numbers that you are going to come in the back with to pick out your stretcher bars. Okay, before we get into that, I want you to sketch your design in colored pencil. So go ahead and take your printout over to the colored pencils. I want you to grab a color, okay, every color that is in this painting, I want you to grab in colored pencil form. And this is how detailed I want your sketches to be. Okay, so I want them to be pretty similar in size and orientation. So I just took a pencil and I just freehand drew a rectangle here that was pretty similar to the rectangle that is up there. If your image is vertical, you can turn your paper vertically. Okay, I want you to think about this in 3 parts. I want you to think about this as a background. Okay, a lot of times this is going to be your sky or your mountain area. Okay, a midground, which for me is this ridge line right here with this back atmosphere. It's kind of that dark grayish blue with a little bit of the mountain range back there. That is known as my midground. And then the last thing is the foreground. So the part of your painting that is closest to the viewer. So that's technically the bottom half of my canvas. So I could really break this picture into 3 parts. Okay, I've got my sky or my background, I've got my midsection, and then I have my foreground. Okay, so this is my background, my midground, and my foreground. All right, then I'm going to draw this accordingly. So I have sketched out my background, my midground, and then lastly my foreground. I would start drawing this the same way we figured this out. So you're going to start with your background. So I'm going to start with my blues, okay? And I am going to sketch in the colors that represent my sky. Okay, then I'm going to come in and do my midground next. So I need my browns and my blacks and a little bit of my blue for that. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fill in my midground. And then lastly, I'm going to add in my foreground. Okay, so that's where all of these come in. And I'm going to go ahead and I am going to fill in this front foreground area. Remember, you're not going for a lot of detail in this landscape painting. We're looking for the color blocking. So these main colored areas in this painting that you're going to start with. Any of this small detail work we can add on top of this. Okay, and I want your sketch to be complete before we start making your canvas.